Lightbringer is a new musical brought to you by some of the creative minds at our very own Ithaca College. The musical follows Lucifer, who, after countless eons of being trapped in hell, finds out that the reasons he was banished from heaven may not have been what he thought. Gearing up for a virtual performance on July 30th, we're joined today by Nick O'Brien, the writer of this exciting new work. Welcome to the show, Nick.
Hi, great to be here.
All right, so we're going to start kind of broad in the question of why you even started writing musicals to begin with. It's kind of a large task to take on, especially considering that you're composer, lyricist, and book writer of this show, a regular Lin-Manuel Miranda. And I don't know, why did you choose to start doing that?
I mean, as much as I would like one day to have a legitimate reason to be compared to Lin, because I absolutely adore his work. No, my background is music composition. I have been I was a music composition major at IC, but the other main thing I've always done is writing. And so it was just kind of the natural fit to put them both together and start doing musical theater. I've always had a strong background in musical theater. I did pit orchestras for a number of years throughout junior high school, performing arts camp that I went to, French Woods. Music directed a number of shows at various places. And so I always was involved in the theater and always really loved it. And one day decided I might as well try writing it myself, because why not?
And so in deciding to write it yourself, you decided to write about Satan, Lucifer. What draws you to Satan as a protagonist for this show?
Because why is he the bad guy? He's the bad guy because we've been told he's the bad guy. But how do we know that's true? For me, a large part of what Lightbringer came out of is the fact that I'm Jewish. And for me, a large part of Judaism is questioning why things are the way they are, not taking them at face value. And so Lucifer's the bad guy. Okay, great. How do we know that's right? It's just what we've been told. It could have all been a frame job for all we know, or a smear campaign or whatever. Who actually knows for sure?
That's fascinating, actually. As a fellow Jew here, that's definitely like true about our religion. Did you ever feel like you were kind of treading on some difficult ground there with the religion stuff, especially coming sort of from that outside perspective of, we don't have Satan in Judaism?
Not so much, really. I didn't really approach writing Lightbringer from religious ground. It was more like, okay, here's some stories and here's some really great characters that are already developed and already established characters. And I might as well it's basically just Old Testament fan fiction. There's very little basis in actual Old and New Testament, Quran, Testament, anything in the story itself. So it doesn't really tread on those waters, I hope.
That's fascinating. I love that a lot. And when we saw on your Lightbringer's Instagram page, we were perusing in preparation for this interview, you mentioned in your post that Lilith is your favorite character.
Yes.
Can you give us a little insight on who Lilith is and why you love her so much?
So Lilith is the badass kick-ass queen of hell. She does not take anyone's, and she is not too happy when people don't really give her the respect that she's owed, both as queen and as just a powerful figure in these ranking of celestial beings. She's the kind of character that could and would kick your ass and then you'd apologize for bleeding on them.
Cool. So it's like the strength of that is what draws you to her, you'd say?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of the established lore, Lilith is the mother of demons. She was Adam's first wife, who was then made into a demon and cursed because she wanted to be Adam's equal rather than subservient to Adam. And so I really drew on a lot of that when writing Lilith. I did change the mythology around, so she's Adam's second wife, where she rescued Eve from an abusive husband type situation. But I really tried to draw on that characterization of someone who doesn't want to be second fiddle to someone else, someone who knows their worth, knows that they're just as important as the next guy over, and anyone who says that they're otherwise needs to be put in their place. And it's really just a lot of Lilith is the kind of person that I wish I had as a friend when I was a kid, because she's the kind of person who's, well, while I talked about how she's not going to let herself be second fiddle to someone else, she's also not going to let you put yourself down or demean yourself. Where if you're her friend, that's because she sees something in you, and she's not gonna let you talk smack about yourself.
Yeah, that's a really sorry, my brain just like exploded for a second. It's been a long day. That's something really strong, I think, to grasp onto. I noticed that a lot of people said that their favorite character was Lilith, like throughout the cast and crew and the little interviews that you have on your page. What was it like taking those kind of established characters and established lore and then adapting it? Like, what was that process like for you, especially in decisions around, you said you switched the order of the wives. Like, how do you go about making those decisions?
So the first thing is just collecting the cast of characters that, okay, these are the characters that I need to tell the story. What characters already exist in biblical, Quran, Torah, lore, and everything, that I don't have to completely redesign who they are to get the characters that I need. And from there, just sort of figuring out what changes I need to make to them to tell the story. Ultimately, it's the characters serve the story doesn't serve the characters. And so it's really important there to make sure that anything you're doing to the characters is not because it's what is already established for the characters, or what you want to happen with the characters, but it's because what the story needs. The story didn't need Lilith to be cursed because she wanted to be Adam's equal. The story needed Lilith to be someone who was struggling with feeling protective of others and feeling the need to be there for everyone and do everything herself. And ultimately her big arc in Lightbringer is learning that she doesn't have to fix every single problem herself. She doesn't have to tackle every problem herself. So coming from that place originally of I have to do everything myself, no one else can do this, I can do everything better than everyone else can, to it's okay to ask for help. So it's really just how can these changes that I'm making to the characters serve the story I need to tell.
I love that. I always like when, the musicals or other pieces of art from different mediums just twist things that we have preconceived notions on, and as long as it is, like you mentioned, in service to the larger story that you're trying to tell, it's always justified, I feel. So we've learned a bit about the story of Lightbringer. Tell us about the genesis of it as a formal project, how you rally this creative team, and what the process has been like overall of bringing this musical to life.
So I owe a large part of this happening to my dear friend and producer, Ari. who I was telling him about this show I've been sketching. I have an idea for it. I haven't really started getting into the meat of it yet, but I've been sketching it, and here's my idea. And he's like, dude, that sounds, I love it. We have to do that. And so he really pushed me to actually get it done and not just talk about getting it done. And once we started, we developed the script, we developed the music, lots of readings, reaching out to friends, putting calls out all over the internet. Hey, we're going to do a reading on this date. Do you want to be involved? Hey, we're doing another reading on this date. Do you want to be involved? Hey, we're finally looking to put this thing on. We need a casting crew. All right, what do we need to do to get this done? And so it's been a pretty long road, a lot of edits, which is every writer's favorite thing, I'm sure. I know it's not mine. But no, doing it virtually is definitely interesting. It's not how the story was designed to be told. And it is definitely a journey, because what with COVID and everything, we're all trying to figure out how to make performance, theater, everything happen when you can't necessarily have 15, 20, 25 people all in the same place at the same time. And so it's something where we've been learning how to do virtual theater effectively as we go. And I think everyone else who's been doing virtual theater is also, we're all making it up as we go along. There's no background to any of this. And I think it'll be really interesting to see how virtual theater holds up once things have been reopening a lot more.
Yeah, could you actually talk a bit more about the specific challenges you faced in the virtual production, and also if that has like opened up any windows of opportunity as well that may not have happened in an in-person production?
Yeah, so I think the two biggest things that were hurdles we had to figure out how to cross with virtual production that are unique to musicals is the fact that there is music and that there is dance. And if you're doing a straight play or like a comedy or whatever, you can do it live. You can do it live virtually, and you're not going to have a problem. But when you start including all those extra bells and whistles that musicals have, you can't do it live. You have to pre-record it, and you have to figure out how you're going to pre-record it properly. Because like you guys know this, but like with musicals, like it's not scene, stop, song, stop, scene. It's the music and the scenes overlap with each other. There's a segue into the music and a segue out of the music, and people need to be more than talking heads for a dance number to happen. And so we had a lot of fun actually figuring out how to best make all that happen. Our choreographer Caitlin Jackson is absolutely amazing. I didn't think that it was going to be possible for us to fully choreograph the show in any meaningful way beyond maybe like a couple of basic movements, but she figured out how to do it. We have large ensemble dance numbers in the show, and it looks pretty great.
I'm game to see Satan dancing. I am on board with that.
Absolutely.
So you're young, we're young, I'm young, Lou's young, everybody's young. Everything at this point in our lives seems like a learning experience. What have you gleaned from putting together Lightbringer professionally, personally, etc.?
I think the same thing that Lilith learned from Lightbringer: don't be afraid to ask for help. It's totally. My background, like I said, is music composition. And music composition is a very isolating world. we sit at our desks, we write the thing ourselves, and then we put it out into the world. But the whole thing about it is we're writing it by ourselves. And so learning that it is okay if I can't do this one thing myself, or it's okay if I need extra time on this, or need more feedback on that, and I don't have to sit there and do the entire thing myself and be like the lone artist type thing, because that's, if I do that, it's not going to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. So now I think we're going to segue into our signature segment here at your Wednesday matinee, which is Broadway Would You Rather questions.
Ooh.
So, Connor, would you like to start off with the first one?
I would love to, Lou. Thank you. So what do you we may know the answer to this one because we saw your Instagram, but would you rather live in Hades Town or in Spooky Mormon Hell Dream?
I'd rather live in Spooky Mormon Hell Dream, because ultimately it is a dream, and Hades Town would suck to live in.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's
basically
fair.
Agreed. Yeah. Number 2, would you rather go to prom with Carrie of the musical Carrie or Veronica from Heathers?
I would rather go with Carrie, because there's nothing like a weird girl. I was the weird guy in high school. All my friends were the weird ones, and so I feel like I would probably not end up getting exploded.
Totally.
Yeah, and hopefully she wouldn't come after you once the pig blood gets spilled.
Yeah.
Would you rather compose the score of a movie adaptation musical or write the book for a jukebox musical?
I would rather write the score for a movie musical.
Gotcha.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
And now this last one is a bit of a long one, so buckle in, if you will.
Okay.
Would you rather see as much live theater as you want for free, but never be able to listen to the music at home, or have unlimited access to archive recordings, cast albums, bootlegs, etc., but never be able to see live theater?
I would definitely rather be able to see unlimited live theater than not be able to see any live theater.
There's nothing.
That's been the general consensus.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm all for listening to cast recordings. All 6 CD slots in my car are cast recordings. My Spotify is almost entirely cast recordings. My iTunes is almost entirely cast recordings. But there's nothing like seeing it live.
Agree completely. And as a final sort of ultimate question to put a cap on this conversation, what do you see is the ideal future of this story post virtual premiere?
So after our premiere, we are planning on doing a series of live workshop readings, just to try and figure out what edits we need to make for moving forward. Obviously, we'll definitely take a lot of input from the end product of this virtual premiere itself, but a series of live readings to just sort of trim the fat, make whatever changes we have to make to make sure that it's the best thing it is, and then at some point down the line from that, a live production is definitely in the cards, and who knows where from there. But if we can get this thing up as high up the ladder as we can, that'd be great.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Well, thank you so much for coming. This was fun to talk.
Thanks for having me.